What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Weekend Zone. I'm Devyn Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevynHoward.
I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram @JRayTheFanatic.
All right, so Jackie is still in Twitter jail. She is using those burner accounts, but once her Twitter account is back up, you guys better follow her on her normal Twitter account once she gets out of jail. Yes. But let's jump right into honorable mentions, you guys. We're going to be talking about Tiger Woods. So we've learned some new details about Tiger Woods and what happened in that car accident that he had earlier this week. We've been filling you in on that all week. He was apparently on his way to meet up with Drew Brees and Justin Herbert when he lost control of his car, and it resulted in that terrible rollover accident that he had. He was running late to have a photo shoot with the two athletes while they played golf. Once the accident did happen, he was reportedly conscious and alert as he was pulled out of the windshield of his car. As we've talked about, he had a long surgery, but he is expected to recover, which is really good. But Jackie, what is your reaction to this news that he was on his way to hang out with Drew Brees and Justin Herbert and have a photo shoot? Like, what do you think this was all about?
I think it might have been maybe one of those manscaping ads or something like that, because we've been seeing those be coming up a lot, because otherwise, why are you guys all hanging out? This is so tragic, but it does remind me very much of what my dad and I would be on the highway sometimes, and we would see someone speed past us, and I would be like, oh, they must be really running late. And my dad used to always tell me, he goes, it's better to get there safely than to not get there at all. So he would always instill in me, like, never speed. I can't say that lesson stuck 100%, but I do, when I do find myself like just flying past people, I will hear him in my head and I'll be like, okay, let me slow it down, because stuff like this unfortunately does happen. And it wasn't because, of any other reason than he was probably rushing. He wanted to get there really quickly. But like my dad said, get there safely, not quickly. It's always better to get there safely.
That is very good advice, Jackie, and something that you should definitely remember when you're going 80 in a 35 or whatever it is you're doing when you're speeding down the highway. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a miracle that Tiger Woods was able to make it out of that accident. Whenever they have to use the jaws of life to extract somebody from a vehicle, it's never a good sign, but he seems to be doing well. But yeah, we'll have to see if this photo shoot ends up happening. I don't really feel convinced that it's manscaping, just because I wonder how they would really take advantage of that on a golf course. I think Alex Caruso is the only one who's doing the manscaping ads right now. But yeah, very, very interesting. Sending love to Tiger Woods. Glad to hear that he's doing okay. Let's move on and talk about Dez Bryant. So Dez Bryant will not be taking his talents back to Baltimore in 2021. So he went on Twitter and was super open about everything that's been going on, and he admitted that it really just wasn't a good fit for him. He said, quote, "I was in a position where everything was already established. I took advantage of getting myself right. I realized quick that Baltimore wasn't the place for me. No bad blood. That's the way of doing things, so you gotta respect it." He also understands how things kind of did go wrong and how he didn't jump in and just gel right away after being off for 3 years. And then he also said that coming in to a team midway through the season is never an easy transition for anybody. He did still manage to score 2 touchdowns for the Ravens, and he put up 47 receiving yards in 6 games played, but he says that he's not going back there and there's no bad blood. Jackie, what is your reaction to this news?
I kind of saw it coming, unfortunately. I was super excited. You guys know how much I love Dez Bryant, and I'm really hard on him sometimes because I love him so much, but I think he's immensely talented. But he's 100% right. Dez Bryant went into a system that was already established. They already worked. They definitely, I think, wanted to work him into that system. We know that him and Lamar have a great relationship, so they definitely wanted that whole thing to work. But sometimes what you see in your head isn't what actually happens in reality, because things are just already working. It's very, very rare that you go into a system that isn't really lacking in any area and then you can pick up the ball and just run with it. Usually that doesn't happen. If everyone's established in their positions already, it's just, you got to wait and see. And Dez Bryant is not the kind of talent that needs to wait and see. I don't care if he's been off for 3 years. He's definitely the talent that should be in rotation. I definitely respect him for saying that, hey, you know what? I couldn't. They were already doing their thing. We tried it. It didn't work. It's not a ding on the Ravens' part. It's not a ding on Des Bryant's part. It's just sometimes the way you hope things would work out just don't work out. And, I hope that he gets picked up. What I really hope is that he puts that Saints jersey back on, because he was with us for like a hot second before he got hurt, and then that kind of started this whole 3-year break. So come on home to New Orleans. I would love to go buy me a Des Bryant jersey.
Of course you would. I love that. Well, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I respect him for just being so open and honest and like accepting of this. He's not angry or bitter, it doesn't sound like. So that really is a true testament to his character. But that wraps up honorable mentions. So Jackie, what's happening in Athlete Trash Talk?
Okay, this Athlete Trash Talk is going to be a fun one because it involves a person that I am not a big fan of. I don't hate on the man. I'm just not a big fan. But Carson Wentz is moving on now. He is going over to the Colts, and he wants his number. He wants his number 11, but that is apparently not going to happen because Michael Pittman Jr. currently wears number 11, and he talked to Wentz about it, and he's just like, no, I'm not giving you my number. He told TMZ, I am number 11. I don't think there's any deal that's going to be done. So Tennessee Titan receiver A.J. Brown saw the story, and he decided to chime in, and he tweeted, LOL, he is not about to get the ball. Gotta know who in control, bro. So yeah, but ultimately I guess the two worked it out. They sat down and they talked, and Carson was like, I'd really, really, really like number 11 if you don't mind. And Michael Pittman Jr. was like, I really, really, really don't care, but I appreciate you asking, but I am going to hang on to my number, which I totally respect him for that. Like, I really appreciate you asking me. I really hope you appreciate this no, though, because I'm keeping my number. What do you think about him keeping his number?
I mean, I think it's a bold move. I think it's you got to stand your ground. When you want to stick with something, you have to be able to be firm in your stance. So I respect that he was able to do that. We see athletes switch their numbers all the time, like to welcome in a more veteran player or whatever. So I feel like, hey, if he wasn't wanting to give it up, if 11 is special to him, then keep it. I respect it.
Yeah, and apparently so does Carson Wentz, so there's no bad blood there, so that is good. But speaking of bad blood, I know you guys saw the live. We talked about this with Cam Newton and that young man who was completely disrespectful. I still have issues with that. I still want to see an apology from his parents for having a kid that would go out there and do something like that. But another person who is not taking kindly to this is Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt Smith, you guys, he is a legend, Hall of Famer. So much respect for this man. But he took to Twitter and he said, what happened to respecting your elders? I give Cam credit for keeping his cool with young fella. However, the amount of disrespect is, yes, it does start at home. So Emmitt Smith seems to think the same thing I do. Like, okay, yes, we can say what we want to say about this kid, but mom, dad, where you at? Like, what do you have to say about the situation? Because like I said, I'm a grown woman right now. I couldn't get away with acting like this kid in public as long as my parents, one parent is here, I cannot do it. So yes, I agree with that. I think Emmitt Smith is spot on. Do you think that kids are just starting to lose respect and do that? We kind of got to look at what's going on and how these kids are raised when they start to act like this in public.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I was a teenager, I never, ever, ever in my life would have even considered talking to somebody, especially a pro athlete, in that way, especially when that pro athlete was out there trying to help me. Like, I was never going to do that kind of thing. So obviously this kid was not taught how to respect people and their time and what they're doing for you. And I feel like his parents should absolutely release their own statement. We got that apology from the kid himself, and it was flawed, but he's a teenager, so like, I guess I can't blame him for that. But yeah, mom, dad, whoever's taking care of him, step up and apologize to Cam Newton, because that needs to happen for sure.
Yes, I totally agree. We have spoken. Emmitt Smith has spoken. So enough on that one. Let's see what you guys have to say, and let's get into these comment clapbacks. So this first one, we need answers to, because I don't know if this is a compliment. Who is who? He says, hey, Megan, Summer, and Kimmy. Who are we talking about here? Devyn seems to think she has the answer. So Devyn, who do you think he's talking about?
We have spent some time trying to decipher this comment here because it makes absolutely zero sense to us. My theory is that apparently he's naming us Megan Thee Stallion, Summer Walker, and Kim Kardashian, but it still doesn't answer who is who in this situation and also why. Clapback, mostly just like, what are you talking about, bro?
I mean, I'll take it. If you're trying to say we got that Megan Thee Stallion body, yada, yada, I'll take it. But I still don't understand it.
Me either.
All right,
Jackie.
let's get into this next one.
So let's move on to the next comment. I'll read this one for us. Okay, so this comment says, not gonna hit play on this video just by the title is obvious BS. I mean, honestly, you didn't have to come on here and comment and tell us that you weren't gonna play. The comments help us just as much as playing the video does. Engagement, so thank you still for that. Also, like, we don't care, so bye? I don't know.
Right? Exactly. I hate those. Like, say less, fam. You don't have to say anything at all. So let's see if somebody else had something better to say. Let's get into this next one. Oh, God. Okay. First of all, I hate when people write these novels, but let's get into it. Jackie, tell your sorry NFL team to catch up with them Super Bowl. He obviously knows I'm a Saints fan. Okay. Steelers fans happy over here. Tell your sorry Jazz Lakers to stop cheating Heat out of rings. LeBron walking with 16 seconds left while Heat's up. Anthony Davis punching people in the face. Refs and league gifted Lakers that championship. Don't make fun of us Steelers fans. Heat Nation. Okay, so you a Steelers fan and a Heat fan? Is that what's happening? So I just offended him all the way around. First of all, don't write so much if it's not going to be cohesive. You know what I mean? Make it make sense. Use punctuation. Otherwise, 150 characters is all you really need. These long dissertations where you don't make sense, not necessary. But per usual, I said what I said, and I just deal with that.
Love that. Love the novel. Love Jackie's response to it. Let's talk about the next comment that we've got. Okay, this one says, social media is basically cyber sewage, pushing out toxic sludge content for meaningless likes and clout. Instead of talking about actual sports, we're getting a knockoff of the Wendy Williams show on this channel. Just shows how the little people stay small by constantly feeding off of, I think, others, but I can't see the bottom of this comment on my screen here. First of all, I just want to give props to this person for using so many big words. I bet that felt really, really good to like say cyber sewage and toxic sludge. Like, I'm sure it felt really good. Also, you're the one who clicked on the video, so I don't know why you're criticizing us for talking about it. It was obviously compelling enough for you to want to see what it was about. So yeah, social media can be toxic, but you clicked.
Right.
All right, you guys, so the next time you want to come on and troll us in the comments, just make sure that you're actually having something important and meaningful to say. Otherwise, your clicks still help us out. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below. Have a great weekend. Follow us on Instagram, you guys, and we'll see you later.
Bye.